Hello, 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 anyone out there? Uh, yeah, I hope you guys are doing good today. I am doing absolutely great. Obviously, the title of the video may not be exactly. uh, uh, what? How the hell would you describe it? Nice, enlightening, no, enlightening, possibly. Uh, Positive is the word I'm looking for. Positive, yeah. So you're probably wondering what the hell am I talking about? The desolation of the gaming industry. Well, I may or may not have a problem with the way things are currently going. I'm sure that if you've been paying attention at all, with a thing that people have called eyes, then uh, there's a highly likelihood that you've been witnessing changes and shifts over the past couple. I'd say probably over the past decade that has morphed the gaming industry into something else. And unfortunately, I don't think that something else is something entirely positive. Hello there, my name is Kits Cannoli, and today we're going to have a chat about that. Ecstatic, ecstatic. Well, not entirely. So, either way, uh, grievances that are glaring and should be very obvious. Uh, well, I think the best starter in this discussion would be the corporatization of the gaming industry in the first place. The thing is, gaming is the whole medium entirely is supposed to be for, being able to relax, enjoy yourself, immerse yourself into something else that isn't typically, what we're used to, the regular old boring world. Whether it means, traveling back into the past and witnessing, the greatest battles of history, or if it means going to the far distant future and exploring, alien, even more alien planets, or whether it means, going to some fantasy world and rising up as a hero against a dark tyrant or anything. That's what gaming is supposed to be. That's what I believe it's supposed to do. It's supposed to get us away from the grind of everyday life. And currently, it's kind of shifted into something else. You know, I think there has to be a fine strike and balance between both. Uh, Nuts. It has to be a good balance between both fun and good gameplay. The story has to be good, and the both the game and the gameplay has to be good. Now, sometimes there's very few exceptions that do one so well that kind of doesn't need the other one, but I think honestly that's what video games should be all about. Unfortunately, I think things have kind of gotten skewed. I know a lot of people dunk on this guy, but honestly, he kind of has it coming to him. Neil Druckmann of Naughty Dog. Ooh, that's the name that's you're probably running through your head right now, thinking, "Hey, isn't that guy kind of like infamous?" Well, against amongst the gaming community. Oh yes, I think I played the demo for The Last of Us 2, and I didn't bother, and I didn't bother buying the whole game because, well, I didn't enjoy what I did see from the demo. But that's neither tit for tat here. Watching other people go through the experience, let me admit this: it's a gaming sin, quote unquote. Supposedly, I never actually fit. I played a little bit of The Last of Us, and then I gave up entirely because it was too slow, boring, and I couldn't care less about any of the characters. Now, Leo Druckmann didn't have much to deal with in the first one, so we're gonna leave that one alone. But I do think that the second one is kind of where I think the issue I'm gonna bring up is a lot more prevalent. I think it's more about the whole idea of these games becoming less about fun and more lectures, more, I don't know, movie Hollywood esque type a deal. You know what I'm trying to say? Where they try to put the focus all on the story and the gameplay so shit. Yeah, you don't want to go through the damn thing anymore. Like one example I can think of is PewDiePie when he did his whole live stream about the damn thing. Yeah, by the he really wasn't enjoying it at that point or another, and that was enough for me to say, yeah, no thanks, pal. I'll skip on this one, and I'll go find something else. Maybe I'll go through The Witcher 3 again. But I think what I'm trying to get at is that video games have moved significantly further away from the path of doing that, whole fun factor. And now certain people, such as Neil Druckmann, have gone in the direction of, you know, uh, video games are an art form, dot, dot, dot. So we're going to make a Hollywood movie out of it. And that's what bothers me is because these people are the people that are making these games. They should understand what the hell the whole point of the damn thing is. It's to be fun, to entertain. And I'm not only picking a bone with this because of the themes and thematics that, were shoehorned in. Because, all right, I'll get this out of the way just so we can clear the air. There's the whole argument about, all video games are political. Well, yes and no. Some video games, a lot of them might have political themes within their story. But the thing is, it's never something that's shoehorned down your throat. It's like you're being bound and gagged and forced down on the ground with your hands behind your back as they shove a big old. It's probably too explicit to get into, but something down your throat. And you're forced to take that rather than, offering it to you and you decide to do it of your own free volition. You know, like the whole thing with The Last of Us 2 was the story was just so meh. Bad even. Because it tried to. I know I've made the point already where I think doing comedy is a lot harder than doing drama. Because with comedy, you have to be able to have, make it funny so people get it and laugh at it. But with drama, all you have to do is, flip a switch, insert sad moments, and the audience is going to feel sad. Well, that's what The Last of Us Two's problem was. It was the whole cinematic storytelling and, berating you for doing the game. Was saying, oh, these people had family, they had friends, this one was pregnant. Oh no. That's the issue I kind of have with this whole thing in general. It's like I think one of the worst offenders that have kind of changed the the whole industry into this kind of mindset is probably David Cage. Now, I do enjoy his stuff. Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human. The middle one in between the other two was kind of mediocre. But it's also Life is Strange. As much as I did enjoy it, I don't think I can rightfully call any of those video games. And the thing is, I like the stories, but it's missing the other part of the video games factor that I was bringing up earlier. Fun. There's no fun in it. It's just an interactive goddamn movie or story, whatever you want to call it. It's missing, the whole thing. There's nothing fun about walking around looking for clues or, different interaction things that, spout out or whatever. None of that's fun. It's just kind of the same drivel just to push the game further, so they can call it a game rather than what it really is, just an interactive movie. The peanut gallery just checked in. Hey. Oh, hello. Uh, yeah, that's got to be my issue with the whole Hollywoodization, is probably what I'm going to start calling this thing, of the gaming industry, is they forget the fun part and they just think it's all about storytelling, but storytelling isn't everything. You have to have both. The Witcher 3, grand story, very, very well written, choices that mattered, stuff that set things off in a domino effect and everything. But, and listen, but it also had the other aspect, fun. good gameplay, stuff that made me want to keep playing, to unlock more abilities, to get better at the game. Fights weren't tedious or, a drag or anything. It was something fun to keep myself occupied with, and it was like an incentive to go along with the story. Unfortunately, like I said, a lot of games I feel like now more and more are becoming, more about the whole Hollywood experience. It's people's own projects wanting to take over for whatever goddamn reason and forget about the whole industry as a whole. Like, I think this also ties into the other aspect of modern day Hollywood. How do I put this? Quote unquote. I think the way Sophia Narwitz puts it is social jacktivism. I think that's the phrase she uses. Let me look it up. Social jacktivism. Well, either way, social jacktivism. I think the whole point of that was because it's social justice thematics being or hijacking the whole crux and theme of the the video game in the first place. Like oh god, if you liked Life is Strange 1, I highly recommend you don't go through number 2 at all, because it does nothing but soil the flavor of the first one. It just turns it sour. It's horrible. Number 2 was made during the era of, a certain president that has now been voted out. I don't know if I want to say the name or not, because everything, I don't know, people are going to dogpile just because that's the way things are now. You have to be careful. The language is a goddamn minefield. So either way, Life is Strange 2, first goddamn episode in the series, opens up with, I guess, a racist white straight male berating Hispanic two people of Hispanic descent, and it's the whole wall thing and everything. And it really, really, really just speaks volume on what's wrong with the industry. You have these people that forget what the fuck they're supposed to do. Fun. If the game, it's like the thing that Reggie, the former president of Nintendo of America, says. If the game isn't fun, then what's the point? Now, like I said, Life is Strange wasn't even a fun game in the first place. Not even the first one, which I do adore the story for. But nowhere was it fun to go through all the things. And if anything, some parts were annoying. But hey, what video game doesn't have the annoying bits? But you then, 2 decides to come in, and it's like a goddamn train. A train going off the rails and everything. And it just decides, guess what we're gonna do? That story, the one part that was driving people to enjoy our game. Yeah, we're gonna take a big old shit in a blender with the story, and decide to infiltrate it rather than focusing on the whole elemental, of the whole day to day. How do I say it? Of the whole, superpower, supernatural type of deal, and we're a bunch of French assholes. Yeah, the people who make Life is Strange is French. I don't even like them in the first place. So it just gives me more of a reason to hate on them. Either way, hey, I'm an American. They hate me. Guess what? I'll hate them back. So either way, I'm getting off topic. Yeah, here comes in a bunch of French pricks who want to try to make a statement about American politics, and you know, it's a video game. I don't want to think about any of that. Some people just want to sit back, have a nice glass of water or Coke or whatever you want to drink, and play a fun video game. Or, I guess, occasionally listen to a nice story. And then you decide to go off the rails and bring in a bunch of other outside themes and political drivel and everything, and everyone just kind of gets, you did suck so much. I know my mother always tells me stuff about wishing bad for other people, but in this instance, I hope the next Life is Strange game does horrible. Just what we know from the goddamn trailer makes us sound so pathetic. Someone that can feel empathy and emotions, like Jesus Christ. It's not exactly a very enthralling story that I want to get into. The story was the whole point of me playing this goddamn game, and you decide to ruin it. Man, I think that's enough about the Hollywood. I think that's enough about the Hollywood takeover of video games. So here's the other aspect that I want to talk about: the corporatization of Hollywood. Now, this also tunes in with you know, the Hollywoodization of video games. But what I'm talking about specifically is monetization, which, if you're unfamiliar with the term, means basically being able to have the video game make more money, whether that means, having loot boxes in games to purchase so people can have the option of spending real life money in a video game, spending real life hard earned cash on a bunch of ones and zeros and whatever the fuck is completely nonsensical. And it's just these assholes that have just kind of shoehorned their way in and said, "Yeah, I know you guys may or may not have liked those video games. Like, I think the worst offender is probably FIFA. The FIFA and NFL or whatever sports games is going on right now that EA has their dirty little grubby hands on right now. Yes, I am using the word dirty grubby hands because they're a bunch of goddamn assholes. So either way, the whole issue that I take up with this is that you have these people that only see video games that have taken over the video game industry and turn it into a whole marketing PR stunt or whatever. Like, I don't know if you've noticed what is it, the gaming convention that happens in LA. If you're still watching, could you tell me what it is in the comments? Because I can't. E3, that's right, E3. I think if you look over the course of the years, E3's turned from a more, kind of fun, show off what we have, what's coming so you can look forward to type of stuff with video games. And it's turned more into this kind of weird, sterile, corporate, kind of showcase, like it's to a bunch of stockholders, which I guess they're trying to sell the product to us, but it's not doing a very good job when you have some cringy ass scripts, some cringy ass people that decide to go, hey, everybody. Like, if you want a good example, look up Crobat and the E3, or the E3 for the Connect. God, it was so cringy. And the thing is, that's been ramping up over the years. They haven't taken a hint. It's probably like some old ass dude or whatever, and they're saying, "So, how are we gonna get the, the boys and girls to buy the next video game?" And then he turns to his friend, he's like, "Oh, I don't know. How are we gonna get them to buy the new video game?" "Well, I heard there's a thing that's popular called a meme." "You mean a meme?" "Yes, a meme. And we're gonna, throw a couple in there, and they'll probably want to buy it, right?" Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's kind of out of touch people trying to do something and sell, video games in a way that's absolutely not fun at all. That's aside from the monetization I was talking about earlier. It really, really just makes you reflect and kind of feel bad because we've kind of been complicit about this in the first place. We should have stopped this a long, long time ago, but unfortunately, I don't know if maybe that train's passed and if we're in a state of decline and decay. Oh God, I hope not. Uh, I'm sorry if this one's a bit of a Debbie Downer, or if it's just more of a angry 21-year-old kid, or I guess adult, yelling at everything wrong with at things he thinks are wrong with the world, which is video games. I'm sorry, but video games I feel very passionate about. Like I said before, I've ever since I can first remember, I've always had video games in my life, and it's always been a way for me to connect to other people, even when I was at the lowest point and had no friends and everything. Video games was how I ended up, having new friends and everything. So it does really, really tick me off when, the very thing you love to do, the very thing you love to spend your time on, turn into some kind of weird abomination of an industry. I don't understand how this happened, where we messed up along the way. It's difficult to pinpoint a single point in time. I don't know if the whole DLC thing, which is stuff that should have been in the game in the first place, or, cosmetic stuff that should be added in for free. I think that one goes to our friends over at Bethesda when they first did it for, I think it was the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. But everything's just turned so volatile. It's not even funny anymore. Like, I think one of the worst offenders, as much as I do enjoy the Persona series and as much as I suck on the dick of Atlas because I do enjoy their games very, very much, the Persona and Shin Megami Tensei series, there are some of the worst offenders about this. Like, with Persona 5 and 5 Royal, there's a lot of cosmetics that add more music and just, different costume designs for the game and for your crew. But it's all locked behind a goddamn paywall. And that really, really just kind of irks me because, this is stuff that could be added along the way of the course of the game as it's released and everything. And you could release it entirely for free to show the community, the player base, that you appreciate them for buying your game. And as a kind of special reward for already investing that $60 into the game, then you give them some free cosmetic stuff that'll, change or maybe sometimes enhance their experience because they like the way that costume looks on a person. But no, Atlas wants to be a big old fucking penis about it. And, yeah. And they decide to make the absolutely executive decision of putting goddamn paywall after paywall for all of these costumes. Like, the worst offender of it is probably their dancing series. Not their original one. Number 4, kind of, yes, but that's something else I'll get into later. But we're sticking to the purely cosmetic aspect. Number 3 and 5 for the dancing series, Moonlight and Starlight, just blew it out of the goddamn water. So much costumes and stuff all locked behind, a paywall. And the thing is, there's stuff that you can unlock over the course of the game, but that's not the issue. The issue is that there's so much more that they decided to put behind a paywall that you have to insert money in to unlock, to, have all this extra added stuff. And you've already paid, your fee to buy the game, to enjoy the experience. But, here they come along and there's a bunch of other cosmetics that release day one. Day one, meaning that it should have been in the game. They had it ready for the game on release. But they decide to be a bunch of goddamn smooth brain idiots and go completely off the rails and charge for all of this. Cosmetics are some of the dumbest things ever. Charging for cosmetics, I should say. Cosmetics in general are a nice thing to have. But when you start charging for, that digital, difference and everything, it just turns moronic. Persona 4 Golden did this so much better than Persona 5 did. There were a bunch of costumes that you unlocked over the course of the game, and you were able to freely switch them out, in dungeon when you're on, fighting and everything. And you didn't have to pay a damn thing for them. It's stuff that you unlock. You spent the time in the game to achieve and unlock, then they're yours to keep. And when you start the game over again with New Game Plus, so all your stuff transfers over, you get to start the game all over with all that new stuff that you, worked your ass off to get by playing the game in the first place. When did everything become so complicated? Jeebus. Man. I know. No crying on set. I'm sorry. But it's just, we're going in a direction that's not very good. And if we don't start grouping up together and telling them to go fuck themselves, I'm afraid that, we may go to a point where we're incapable of coming back. Now, let's talk about the other aspects of pay features in video games. Pay to win, loot boxes, the other goddamn atrocity that's plagued us. These things are completely the worst offenders that I can think of. As much as I hate cosmetics, this thing is just so much worse that I'm gonna go goddamn nuts because of it. Pay to win features and loot boxes and all that shindig. It's really horrible. I think the first one to do this was probably the FIFA series, or if not, it was either or Madden. I'm not sure, and honestly, I don't care. But this is horrible. You know, I don't know if you're aware, but EA got some documents leaked a couple days ago, recently, and the whole thing was that it's always about the Benjamins. Yeah, it's I don't I know it's always about the Benjamins, but it's just such a shitty way. It's eroding the very thing we enjoy to do with our pastimes. And I don't know why they have to do it. Jesus, can't you? I know Nintendo's not exactly consumer friendly 100%, but I do believe that they're a lot better with consumers than other Western companies are, or I guess European, because Ubisoft is also a goddamn shit show. Well, first off, getting back on track, pay to win features and loot boxes. Remember when I remember when I was a kid, when I was like in elementary school, I had a Wii and I had Madden, and I used to play that a lot, and I used to get the updated version. I think I got it like for 3 years. Like I got the new version for 3 years. And the thing is, the first one I remember playing, you were able to choose your teams, like who was on your team. Like if you wanted to be the Patriots, or if you wanted to be the Saints or the Packers, then your ass could choose who the hell in the league you wanted to be on your team. There was no pay features. You didn't have to, have a chance. You know, you could freely add people, take people out, all that. There was no chance of a, box. It's literally a lottery box, a lottery of, getting Tom Brady or, you know, or I'm trying to think of another player at the time. Uh, Nuts. Well, you get the whole idea. Aaron Donalds, Philip Rivers. Now that's how it's become. That's what it's turned into. And I think the whole issue of this also stems from turning video games into a more competitive type of deal, trying to get the best team you can, but getting the best team you can also means having to pay cash now, real life money into a video game. Now, if people want to have that kind of factor, like, I think it should be a lot better. This whole monetization is completely a ripoff and everything, and it's it's just bad. Like, I think if I somehow magically became the CEO of EA, I think the way I'd want to fix this whole pay to win situation is have that casual mode for people off, no, casual people, where they can make their teams however they want. Stats don't matter. Just pick and choose whatever players you like and stuff like that. Because otherwise, everyone's just gonna, pick all the best players and play against each other, which won't be fun. Just set base stats for everybody, and if anything, just make it whole team stats. So no matter what team you're on, no, scrap that. That's even gonna make it worse. People are gonna choose specific teams only. Just make the teams, all equal, and let the abilities fall onto the player. If they're good enough to get that average, that team and be better at than somebody else with the exact same statistics, then all the more kudos to them. And if people want to have that competitive experience, then I think there should be the other way, a way to have, to show off that you've dedicated this much time into the video game and you have something to show for it. And it's not something that some prick that just bought the game and dropped $200, just got to your same progression level. No pay, no pay to win features. Just if you play long enough and you're good at the game and you've mastered it, then you should be able to have access to better players, is what I'm trying to get at. Maybe still have the chance thing, but completely take out the whole pay to win feature, which is completely ridiculous. That's how I think it should be. If you get lucky enough and you play long enough, then you could have the best team. But the way it's set up right now is you have to pay real money for a .1 chance to get what's a famous soccer player, Messi or Ronaldo or whatever. And that's a .1 chance, and you end up getting some really shit player and everything. Like in a 6-star strategy, in a 6-star rarity, 1 star common, 2 uncommon, 3 rare, 4 very rare, 5, you know, uh, epic, and 6 legendary. And that legendary is a .1%, and people are just gonna keep gonna keep putting money into this damn thing because it's exactly like gambling. There's no difference whatsoever, no matter how much EA tries to tell you otherwise. It's nothing more than just gambling with digital shit that you can't cash out with. Oh my god. Uh, oh god. And yeah, sorry. I'm just a little thirsty. That's got to be my biggest gripe with stuff like EA or whoever the hell owns, all these sports games and everything. It's the same thing with free to play games on mobile, but free to play games on mobile is more understandable. Like take gotcha games for example. Like myself and Arknights. Arknights is a free to play game on mobile with a gotcha system, which is the same thing as kind of gambling. Well, it's the same thing as gambling, but the game's already free to play. You don't have to drop $60 to get access to the game and have a bunch of other shit tacked on to it to spend money on. Arknight's free to play. You download the game, you go and play it, and if you so feel like it, then you can spend money on, the whole gambling chance of getting characters that are, like I said before, 6 stars and everything. That's the issue, is that you already have to pay for the game itself, and then they expect you to pay even more money in the on top of the $60 to buy the game, to buy the game and everything. And that really really ticks me off. And what makes this thing even worse, I would say, is that they do it annually. Every single year they release a new version, and you have to start from the very beginning. So if your ass finally got, a good entire 6-star team at the end of FIFA 2020, well, guess what? You can't carry that shit over to FIFA 2021. And what's that? You spend $5,000 doing that? Well, damn, son, I'm sorry, but you can't keep it. That 2020 shit stays in 2020. 2021 does absolutely nothing different. No better graphics, no better, you know, quality of life stuff. Nothing at all. It's the same exact goddamn game, reskinned, just updated rosters or whatever, and they sell it back to you for $60. And then you get back into that same cycle, spending 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. And it just keeps going on and on. And you have to rebuild your team with a chance of maybe getting that character or player you wanted. And then it's the same cycle again and again. Have I ever told you the definition of insanity? It's doing the same fucking thing over and over again and expecting shit to change. And that's what's happening right now. We're all going nuts. We're all going insane. We keep buying the same thing again and again and again, expecting it to be different, but it never changes. It's always the same thing. All they do is update rosters, add new players, remove old players. That's all it is. And that's the issue. We take it. We just decide to, go with both of our hands and open our asshole and, say to EA or whoever the hell's doing it. And I say, you know what? Come on, fuck me. Fuck me. I don't want you to fuck me in my ass. And we just take it. We don't resist. We openly open our asses for them. Does any of this make sense, or is this something that's only making sense to myself? Uh, Talk amongst yourself, because right now I'm gonna go lock the door because there is a small child running around the house, and honestly, I'd rather not them getting in to my abode. Man, it's also tiring. This thing's been going on for probably over a decade now, and nothing's changed. If anything, it's just become more aggressive. Like, going back to that EA document, because I've gotten sidetracked getting too enthralled in this conversation. The whole EA thing was all about talking about going to FIFA Ultimate Teams, which is really pay to win and that whole thing. Well, of course, you can play for free, for free, dot, 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 in quotation marks. Free. uh, of course, free means paying the $60 entry fee to buy the game already. And then you're expected to drop more money. And EA says that they want more people to move into the goddamn Ultima shit. Because apparently 5% of the player base ends up making more than half of the revenue generated. So you have a couple dumbasses out there that are fueling this and letting this whole thing go on and on and on because they're addicted to that rush, that high of getting, oh, I got Messi, oh, I got Ronaldo, oh, I got so and so. I'm not very familiar with soccer, and I can't be bothered to look it up anyway. You have people driving them, so EA says, oh, there's this many people, doing this, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to make more money off of them by pushing them towards this thing. And if we can, we'll try to snare in a couple new fishies as well. And they ended up calling the regular currency you get in the game from playing, games and everything, grind currency. You know what the definition of grind is? Hard, dull work. Now, refer back to the beginning of, this whole shindig. What did I say video games were all about? Do we have anyone in the crowd? That is correct, Mr. Marcus Aurelius, all the way in the back of the room with the cool sunglasses and leather jacket and the slicked hair and the shoes on the desk. Video games have to be fun. If it's not fun, then what's the point? When the people that are making your video games start referring to regular currency you get by playing the game as grind currency, something's gone terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. Video games are supposed to be fun. When the people making it say there's a thing you earn by playing the game that's called not fun money, we're screwed. We're very, very, very screwed. And unless we all manage to, put our dicks together and, come up with a plan, we're screwed. We're very, very, very screwed. How much longer until, you buy a video game and, half the story is missing and they say, oh, if you pay us another $60, then guess what? You get the second part of that story. Just wait. Just goddamn wait. Somebody's gonna do it eventually unless we decide to change something now. These people are just starting off with the whole gambling system because the law hasn't caught up with it. I know some countries are, but here in the United States of America, we're getting our asses fucked. The law hasn't evolved enough to cover this because all it is, it's gambling. It's just gambling in another form. EA tries to deny it, but don't listen to them. Don't listen to the very people that are trying to peddle this shit to you. You think these people care about you? They really, really probably don't. They just see you as a goddamn cash cow. They say that they have parental controls to control all this. But the game's rated E for everybody. I don't know if you remember, but I think it was like last year or the year before. What was that? That NBA game, whatever it's called, decided to implement a gambling lottery system that was 100%, looked 100% like a regular ass lottery slot game. And they blew it off. And somehow, the goddamn dorks at the ESAR, what is it, the ESARB? Who decides video game ratings? ESRB. In a perfect world, we the players should get paid to play their games with all the hours we invested in them. I wouldn't go that far, but it's better than what the hell what we got now. Well, either way, like I said, NBA, came out with a system. It was exactly the definition of gambling. The slot machines were exactly like gambling. They had a goddamn pachinko machine and a roulette wheel in their game for the chance to get a player, to get Kobe Bryant or whatever. What the hell's the name of the ass that plays for the Lakers? What's his name? Oh, fuck him. Whatever. To get that douche. And the ESRB, the people that are supposed to be protecting your kids, said it was alright. That it was E for everybody. man, woman, child, a kid could go grab his dad's, credit card and spend $1,000, and holy shit, the dad wakes up, finds out, and they're financially ruined because they needed that thousand for the light bill or for the electricity bill, and they all work at home now and they can't afford the electricity. And the ESRB just said, "Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I know it looks like it's gambling. It may literally be a slot machine, but I think it's fine. No, it's fine." EA and 2K say enough that, that it's not gambling, so I guess, well, it's not gambling. It's like if I decide to hold you at gunpoint, rob your ass, and then a cop comes by and says, "Oh, what seems to be a problem?" And you're telling him, "Oh, this guy robbed me." Oh, Panda King. Yeah, that prick. I never heard that phrase about him. I can't, oh, yeah, now I remember his name, but I can't be bothered enough to waste energy saying it. Either way, back to the analogy. I rob you, cop comes by, he asks what's wrong. You, being the one that's robbed, says, "Oh, he's robbed me." And me, being the robber, say, "Oh, it wasn't nothing. It may look like robbing, it may exactly be robbing, but, you have to take my word and it's not robbing." And the cop just says, "Oh, okay, sure, I guess it's not robbing." Panda King James. Yeah, there we go. That's exact. But either way, back to the analogy. That's exactly what happened with the game, and the ESRV's got to be in somebody's goddamn pocket. We may not know it right now who it is, or at least officially, but I think we all kind of know who has their hands in their pants, who's passing them wads of cash in a Manila envelope on a dark and rainy night with trench coats and noir style, filmography and everything. Ugh, God. I think the last part I would like to get to today is probably unfinished games. And I think this falls into areas where I think it's kind of obvious. Cyberpunk 2077 is the biggest offender. Game was released, quote unquote, finished, but mother of God, I played the son of a bitch the day it came in the mail, which was like a day after it released. And oh my God, I've never played a game so glitchy and screwed in my life. It was not a very fun experience. Playing Cyberpunk on release was one of the worst experiences I've ever had in video games. Just because of how laggy it was and how glitchy it was. The amount of times I crashed was like a couple times an hour, like 2 times an hour. Across 2 times an hour across 60 minutes is too many. And sometimes, if I was lucky enough, I'd get 3 crashes in an hour. Oh Christ, on a bike. Ah man. I think it also ties in back to the corporatization. It's all about satisfying, the stock owners and whatever people have invested investors, that whole thing. And they end up releasing these half finished games and we end up buying it for the full price. I wouldn't be so mad about, the whole $60 if the game was released stable. Because this thing was having a goddamn seizure of a time on release. Oh God, and I feel like an idiot sometimes because I bought the collector's edition with the statue and all the shit in it. I enjoy the additional stuff, but my God, the video game part just made me want to cry. Like I think someone else that does this pretty bad is Activision with their, you know, uh, if you want to look back to Assassin's Creed Unity, probably what was the glitchiest game they've ever released. and it ended up killing their game because no one wanted to deal with any of that shit. The only reason why people are putting up with Cyberpunk is because CD Projekt Red has a credible, you know, rep behind them. So that if they say they're gonna fix it, then they're probably gonna spend the time to fix it. And I want to give some credit to where credit is due, even though it's kind of a low bar. Because look at Anthem. When the hell? What was that? 2019 or something? I just remember I used to drive my friend to school because we both went to the same college at that point and we had classes at the same time. But either way, Anthem released. EA dropped the game like not even an entire year later when they said, "Oh, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna come back, and the game's gonna be fresh, and you're gonna want to play it again." Year later, the game's dead, and EA completely just kind of buried the body, and that was it. CD Projekt Red at least meets that medium standard of quality control and saying I we recognize that we fucked it up, even though they did try to absolve themselves of blame in certain ways during their speech, which I think was completely disrespectful to us. Because I think that their whole thing was the part that really pissed me off was when they said, "Oh, at least the people on PC are having a good experience." I'm playing on the last gen console, PS4, and you marketed this game to come out for the PS4, and all of a sudden you want to go switch over to the goddamn PC and say how well you're doing over there. But on the PlayStation, it's a goddamn wreck. I haven't seen a collision this bad since. Well, I'm not going to finish that joke because it's going to get me banned. So they made errors, but you also have to give them, I wouldn't say claps on the back, but you should at least acknowledge the fact that they're not doing the EA thing and just cutting and running with all your shit. And they're spending time to fix it and keep the game alive for, years and everything. And that you do have to say, well, at least you're not cutting and running. You burst this thing, or you help burst this thing, and at least you're not going to be an absent father. Was that an appropriate joke? I don't give a shit, whatever. So I think that's kind of my whole grovel. Games get released unfinished. Oh yeah, if you want another bad offender, go look at a Fallout 76. And the thing is, they didn't try to remedy the situation as Cyberpunk did. They tried to fix bugs, but they also did other nefarious stuff. That was completely ridiculous. Like when people spent, what is it, the $300 to for the pre-order, and they weren't given the canvas bag that was promised. They gave you $5 in game credit to spend with them that you couldn't cash out. And it wasn't until lawsuits started coming that they finally said, "Okay, I guess we'll make your canvas bags." It's stuff like that that really, really irritates me. And I'm a little concerned for the future, especially with the way Sony's going in the that PlayStation's going in the current direction. Uh, Let me look up PlayStation. Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan, that piece of dirt. Jim Ryan's got to be the worst CEO of all times. This man's alienated the Japanese market single handedly. The people that came before him were pretty lovable and honestly understood the community. Jim Ryan's just a complete douche and wants to sell out to Hollywood and everything. And get a bunch of pats on the back for, doing such a magnificent job. Ooh boy. To Jim Ryan, no, I really don't like you, and I hope you get your nuts crunched one day. Yeah, I know that's a pretty harsh sentencing, whew, but it's no less than what he deserves. And it also irks me. I think I've talked about this on Twitter like maybe twice. I don't talk a lot on Twitter. I usually just retweet anime tits or whatever. Yeah, welcome to my Twitter experience. No, it really just kind of irks me that Sony and PlayStation has alienated the Japanese market for whatever reason, even though that's kind of their whole origins and everything. And now they're deciding to make the big brain galaxy move of rebooting the Last of Us series rather than continue with Days Gone 2. And I'm pretty sure you know that I do like Days Gone a good deal, considering that I played it a couple times now. No new ideas, no new anything. We're gonna get peddled the same thing over and over again. Last of Us isn't even a decade old, and they already want to reboot the damn thing. Granted, it doesn't have our boy and Lord and Savior Neil Druckmann leading the charge on this one, but nonetheless, I really don't want to. I don't want anything to do with Naughty Dog at this point. Too much bad blood stains on their rep that I can't. I can't exactly look back and play the Uncharted series without thinking about everything going on right now and of recent history. When did it all get so complicated? Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. But in light of the failure of bigger companies in the gaming industry, I do believe there is a ray of hope for smaller studios. If only they get the time they need in order to nurture themselves. Like, I think what I would put as a good example is Star Sector. Star Sector is a game that you play on PC. The whole thing is that humanity's developed warp travel to go fast, and then eventually that shit broke and no one knows how to fix it, so you're stuck in this kind of one sector of space trying to survive along with different factions that have splintered. And it's a very polished game made by a few people, and it's been like over the course of a decade that they've been working on this. But the game's so good that it puts other games to shame. I had more fun playing a game made by, I think, like I said, I think it's four people. I had more fun playing a game that was made by four people over the course of a decade than I had with however many people it took to make The Last of Us 2. And another quick short game that was actually pretty fun and simple. Uh, I have the file right here in my laptop. Let me pull it up. You can find it on itch.io. It's only on a PC though. It's called Deepest Sword. I don't know if you've seen the gameplay for it. It's not very long, but it's a game made by, I think it's like two people. It's not very long. You could probably finish it in like 8 minutes, but it's fun enough that it really does put some other AAA titles to shame. Just because it's simple, but it still manages to be fun. And that's where I think the kind of ray of hope for the gaming industry is. Smaller independent studios away from the big conglomeracy of corporate type, you know, runnings, wanting this many themes, to pander to certain market people in order to get sympathy buys and purchases or whatever the hell you want to call it. I think it's these small individual creators that can make their own video games that I think can stand up against the colossal titans of, big companies. And I also think that maybe the Japanese industry can, I don't know, maybe do something better, because a lot of the issues that I'm talking about have been all Western shit. I don't know too much about the Eastern industry, more specifically the Japanese industry, but I do think that they're a lot more responsive and less, aggressive about this thing. Like Nintendo has a problem where they don't, ever reduce prices for their game. Like Breath of the Wild's like a couple years old now, but it's still $60, which is, stuff that really doesn't happen. That happens, that doesn't happen in the Western. You know, Battlefield 1 came out at $60 and now it's like $5 or $10 at your local GameStop. But like I said, I do think that it's something that we have to consider. Maybe we should give up on, EA and Ubisoft, stop giving them our money. Look at smaller titles and, maybe get behind them and show them support. And, they'll say, oh, we're doing something good. So lots of people enjoy our products, they're purchasing it. So in order to keep that, keep our rep up and, you know, succeed in the market, then, I got no problem with people making their bank and everything. I just want it to be well earned and deserved. That's that's what I got. Give smaller studios a chance. I'm not saying everything's going to be a hit, but I do think that there are stuff that it's an option we have to look forward to. Look at that's Hollow Knight, very successful, a well done game, smaller studio, very well done. They deserve all the praise they get and whatever they do make off of it. Cuphead, same thing, smaller, great game. They deserve all the praise and money they get from the game. I think we really should start considering abandoning, these big conglomerates, you know, hegemon corporations, and we should start focusing on smaller stuff. I think that's probably our path to quote unquote salvation of the gaming industry. And hopefully the new people don't rise up and turn into the very thing we've swore to destroy. So either way, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for today. Um, how was your day going? Because I don't think if I don't think I asked that question at the beginning of this. Ah man. Well, I hope you're having a good day. I want you to have a good rest of your day. Stay frosty, because well, I don't know. The weather's fluctuating now, hot and cold, hot and cold. Well, nonetheless, I want you to stay frosty. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you on the other side of tomorrow. We'll pick things up back with Breach, the Archangel's job. 2 o'clock, 224. I hope you're enjoying this one. It's pretty good. So, like I said, oh god, I'm just repeating myself over and over again. I'm sorry. Alright, stay frosty, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you on the other side of the day. Adios, mis amigos. What about indie games? I'm just saying that I think they approve, or they're a new medium for us to enjoy. That we should stop paying attention to EA, Ubisoft, and all these other big pricks at the top, and maybe we should start looking towards smaller stuff. People that want to make games and actually put in the time and effort to make it good so their game can actually get out. You know what I'm trying to get at? Quality control. People who genuinely care about the product they're putting out, as opposed to people that are forced to, rush things and make a release a crappy product, is essentially what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying all indie developers are, gonna be a godsend like the way Hollow Knight was, but I do think that maybe we should shift more towards that over these over the AAA industry. Well, I'll leave those thoughts with you, and maybe it's something for you to think about. So I want you to have a good rest of your day. Stay frosty, and I'll catch you on the other side of the day. 2 o'clock to 4, somewhere, something like that. Reach the Archangel's job. Uh, we're going to get into the more crew, what do you call it, introduction and everything tomorrow. I know that for a fact. I can judge based off of where we are in the story. So either way, yeah. I'll see you dudes later. Adios.